But ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
This is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Of nowhere. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga, and we get to do this every single Friday, stepping out into the beauty of Uganda around us and enjoying it. My name is Priscilla Nalwoga, and I may say good morning to you north of Uganda, good morning to you south of Uganda, good morning to you west of Uganda, good morning to you east of Uganda, and good morning to central of Uganda. That's the beauty of being in the middle of nowhere, unless you can guess where we are. But I'm not doing this alone this morning. I am joined by the lovely gentleman and a beautiful lady. And surprisingly, we are all wearing a unison color, as if this is GMU Primary School, where we have Headmaster Felix.
Headmaster, really?
I mean, man, you look stunted. Oh no, actually, no, Kirabo would be Basa.
No, I'm the school director. Yeah, should be. Morning, Priscilla. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
So today we decided to start this show with our masks on.
Yes.
Probably that is supposed to be symbolic to all our viewers out there, to tell you that we are in hard times, and we only appeal to you and ask you to please wear your face mask at all times. As long as you're in a crowd, please make sure you. I remove my mask so I can greet this awesome, beautiful lady next to me. I don't know, in the primary school she would be the class captain, the class monitor, the one.
Head girl.
Now all the titles you're just giving them like. Hello, head girl.
Hello, headmaster.
How can headmaster greet head girl like hello head girl, hello headmaster? You'll be like hello sir.
I'd rather say good morning, sir.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Then the question be why not in class?
What are you doing here? Why are you rotating around the kitchen? It's time for classes.
Yeah, kitchen. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am
It's
great.
good to have you.
I'm
You look
glad to
awesome
be
this
here.
morning, I must
Thank
say. I love
you.
your cardigan.
Thank you very
It looks
much.
lovely.
Thank you.
So, please.
Created love, Kwagala, Price love.
So Price is your name, like
Yes, it's my real
like
birth name.
P-R-I-C-E?
P-R-I-C-E.
Like national ID.
Yes.
So head girl.
Yes, sir.
What's the inspiration behind Price? There
It's
was a
my
price you
father.
paid for?
No. So
God correct.
Felix, please, that's a point of correction. I'm Gift Robert.
eh,
I'm Gift Robert.
Priscilla.
There is-
Morning.
Good morning, dear headmaster.
So
There's
tell
no
me,
narrow.
is that I want to come back to Chirao maybe when he finishes coming down with his gift and
But
all.
he's already down.
Okay, back to you, Chirao. Now that you're what's the inspiration? Who told you you're called Gift? As in, I've never heard of that. Why is it?
The history behind the name Gift was my auntie named me that name because I come from a family where there are so many girls, almost the entire clan, but there are very few men. So when a boy child is born in a family, it is really a gift from God.
Huh?
Yes.
Gift from God.
Yes.
Okay, Price Love.
yes, please.
You've done a couple of music songs, if I may be particular, and but you use a lot of instrumentals. I'm also made to understand the few that I've listened to. Kindly also tell us about your inspiration with music, what kind of music you do, and you know.
Okay. I basically do music for the soul. I love that someone gets to experience healing and get to think, get to evaluate their lives through what I do. And I play a local instrument, adungu, a Ugandan local
In
instrument.
English is what? Because the way you say it makes it look like you're saying it.
It's a bow harp,
and in Uganda.
but the Ugandan adungu.
And it's from the north.
Yeah,
That's
it's from the south.
Nile.
Yeah,
That's
Nile.
right, yeah. So, are you from that side?
No, I am not. I happened to study music, and in the school we were required to learn a local instrument, and I fell in love with the adungu.
Adungu.
Yes.
Kirabo, how many music instruments do you know in Uganda, by the way? And if I come to Priscilla, because I started with you because I know Priscilla knows Engoma, and so Kirabo, how many do you know?
I know the drum.
In Uganda, in your local
Engoma, akadingidi.
Kadingidi.
Yes.
Endingidi.
That I know how to play
Yes.
it. Engarabi.
Yeah.
That I can also try out. I think
The ones you know, not necessarily you know to play, but
Engoma, Endingidi, Engarabi. Then I'm done.
that's all you know.
Yes.
So Priscilla,
Headmaster, may I please go to the toilet?
there's no toilet. So how many instruments do you know?
You know in class, whenever people try to don't question.
They tell you sit down.
Sit down. Break time
Actually,
is about
I don't
to-
like that. That's a bad habit with kids. Always going out. And when one goes out, the rest all follow. So, how many instruments do you know in Uganda?
You said the different is that in Uganda.
Ndongo. I think now you want what I said.
No, because you once said it here.
Okay.
Oh, and yeah, so Ndongo, Engoma, Engarabi.
My God, you're terrible. How many
As if
instruments?
you're any better.
I can name even 15.
No,
No,
naming is
naming and
playing.
knowing.
No. I say
How to play them.
naming.
Nkunda, we can rewind.
How many instruments do you know? Let them. Now you can go to the toilet.
Engoma, endingidi, engarabi, ensasi, enanga, what is tampion?
Amatongoli.
Entongoli.
Amadinda.
Amadinda. What is a thumb piano?
What?
Thumb piano.
This thumb piano.
Akogo.
So,
Alright.
we're learning a couple of, and it's important.
Very important.
It's important mostly for you, and I'm proud that you know much of these instruments. But just back to the music and all that. What kind of music do you do?
I can't really classify it because there's pop, there's rock, there's R&B, but mostly here in Uganda we do a lot of pop music.
Pop.
Let me get
Yeah.
you do like rock on the...
No. I was just elaborating yes, but let me just say soul music.
Soul music.
Yeah.
Well, of course, good morning, Uganda family. We unleashed to you Price Love, one of those ladies who do music and, of course, use instruments. And that kind of music is unique. And trust me, not everyone can actually do it.
And I think for me, one thing I've loved, the number of songs I've heard of hers, listened to, and the covers, is the fact that she brings out a traditional instrument. To me, that is so moving.
That's the unique.
Because, yeah, it's because you see that there's a way she blends her music. Love so much.
The what? Kirabo?
Africanacity. Well, speaking of Africanacity, we are doing a period of COVID-19 and we're in a 42-day partial lockdown.
Indeed.
So people are working from home, especially companies, corporates, some staff are working from home. So yesterday I was watching this movie and it had a scene where there's a Zoom meeting and then everyone is on the Zoom. So this one member laughed so hard that they actually choked and they fall down. So another guy on Zoom has to call 911 to send it to that person's direction so that they can save that person. And we actually had there was a clip that went around last year. Was it for
Someone in West
Sudan?
Africa.
Yeah, in West Africa. What was that video? Please remind me.
The gentleman went, I think, for a short call.
Yeah.
And yet he was on Zoom. And he stood up in his, and then the other secretary said, please don't, please don't, please don't. So you would hear the man do the short call.
Zoom things are very interesting, Priscilla.
Yeah.
Most of it comes back to Africa and to Uganda. But I think we have to adjust to know that really, even if it's Zoom, you create that conducive environment. Yeah. So I was watching a clip on Zoom where someone, they were having a proper office discussion, but he was in very short pants.
So he was in a tie?
He was in a tie, and you could imagine how someone would waste time to organize
By the way,
himself.
it even happened in court, that same scenario.
In court?
Yeah.
The
judge.
lawyer, the judge was fully dressed up
And
upstairs.
putting on his gown very well. So,
Shots down.
yeah.
So here
No, your
comes
shot's
this
not
gentleman in
broadcast,
serious
shot's
on
actually.
Zoom, and from nowhere a toddler comes in. So he wants to tell a kid, please don't. And when he stood up, people are wondering, hey, what is happening? So it's something that we must adjust to and know that this is the new normal.
Yeah.
And we have to organize ourselves to avoid these embarrassments.
Now that it's dress code right, let's bring it back to your home. Your home is your comfort zone, you know, and you're plugged into a meeting, and then someone comes, hey, Priscilla,
Landlord, they are conquering.
Kirabo, ezange.
But anyway, all that said, I can say again, it is Friday and we normally do our productions outside studio. Today is also part of those productions. And where we are today is a very, very funny place, beautiful place, a place that if you haven't been here, you wouldn't know. But we decided to do this production on a roadside. Somewhere Priscilla calls in the middle of nowhere.
This is in the middle.
And this is now, is it called the express?
The
highway.
Express highway.
Highway, yeah. And we're somewhere in Kajansi, that roundabout. The place that has actually been trending so much for internationally, people have been discussing this road, the beauty of the road, how swift the road is, and of course so many things that come with it. For example, the vegetation, you can see the UNRWA did a good job to plant a couple of trees even alongside this road. I was talking to someone earlier, they said this is the most I think well tracked road in terms of directions. It's quite clear, it's hard to get lost. For some of you who have been to Kenya, you will notice that the Kenya's highways, the rate at which people get lost on those highways, and yet you have to drive probably another 20 kilometers to find a turn and what. And people also have stories on this highway, by the way.
Do you have any stories on this highway?
No.
No.
But I know people who have gotten lost.
What are their stories that they have told?
Well,
someone takes a wrong turn.
Yes. For example, someone is going to Masaka, but you see, there are those who branch off and there are those who continue. And the guy told me, I am sorry, but I think I'm going to get lost, so I should turn. The last time, I went around for hours until I couldn't do it any longer, so I had to find a way out. Yeah.
Good. I hope, Priscilla.
Yeah.
You talk of stories regarding this express highway, but I want to tell you, this is one road that you must master very well and read the road signs very well.
Yes.
People get lost and the person will call and they are trying to identify a spot you also don't know. I'm somewhere, now I'm seeing a garden where I think you can have a barbecue even, where you can have a picnic, I can see Segu, and you're like, but please, isn't there anything that you can use for me to at least give you guidance?
It's called an express highway. You know, the guidelines are on limited spots, and the assumption is that you should know the rest of the way. And then until you interface with another junction, then it will give you directions from there. All right. But speaking of directions, we had stories that were directed yesterday, and looking into Parliament, having finally concluded the business of appointments and approvals. We're quite excited about that, and we're going to be looking into two of those stories, and Felix will give us international stories.
Well, we begin with the vetting that happened and was concluded yesterday at Parliament, where vetting of recently appointed ministers was successfully concluded, with most of them being seen through and promising to express that is exemplary leadership. State Minister for Housing, Felix Nkunda, expressed readiness that is to serve in the housing sector by ensuring that both rural and urban areas people have proper homes and accommodation. Her determination was similarly shared by other vetted ministerial nominees, who also included General David Muhoozi of Internal Affairs. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Amongi Anet, arrived at the House ready for the day's work. She was here for the vetting of new ministers, who many were scheduled and most of them respected the time they were given. Margaret Muhanga and Anifa Kawoya nearly arrived at the same time to be vetted. General David Muhoozi, who will soon be former CDF, pledged diligent service to Ugandans. The outgoing Minister of State for Lands, Felix Nkunda, pledged to take the same enterprise to the housing sector. Others who are also vetted include local ministers, government tourism, water and environment, among others. They all pledged to be exemplary in service. As of recently appointed State Minister for ICT, Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao, said she's optimistic that she'll do her best when it comes to national service.
Away from that, COVID-19, the disease that was caused by coronavirus, can cause respiratory infections, and the Ugandan medical experts are yet to approve helmet, which is a non-invasive ventilation, the balloon-like ventilator that can help critically ill patients at ICUs getting enough oxygen while preventing the continuous spread of infection. Dr. Bruce Chirenga, head of Lung Institute, notes that they just imported the device. It has to be tested first for efficiency, then advise government on the way forward. The coronavirus can cause severe respiratory infections, inflame the lining of the lungs and the air sacs at the bottom of the lungs, and once the air sacs don't work, less oxygen is pumped into the bloodstream, thus no carbon dioxide is removed from the body. Medical experts note that once COVID-19 patients reach this state, they will need machine support to push oxygen into their bodies. Therefore, medics want to manage well and care for the critically ill patients at ICUs.
Now, of course, having said that, we will also cross over to our international stories where we'll be looking at the US Supreme Court did come out to make rejection against Trump's back challenge or Obamacare. Now, the use of, at least the US Supreme Court has rejected a Trump-backed challenge by Republicans-led states, that is, former President Barack Obama's healthcare overhaul. Despite the court's conversation tilted, at least its 9 justices came out to make ruling against the 2, where we see 7-2 now that the challenger did not have legal standing to sue. Now, in the third time since 2010 that the Affordable Care Act, known as the Obamacare, has survived the challenge. Now, the law gave millions of low-income Americans access to Medicare. Of course, coming back to Africa, we're looking at the passing on of Kenneth Kaunda, who was former president and also a Pan-Africanist, who is also celebrated to have championed Pan-Africanism in his country, but also led to independence of his particular country. Now, also falls in the realm he falls in the realm of other leaders internationally, the likes of Bob of Zimbabwe, that is the late Bob of Zimbabwe. So many more, but however, the country also announced that they will be mourning him for the next 2 days amidst the times of the pandemic. Well, that's what is trading on the international scene, Robert and Priscilla, and of course locally there are a couple of stories that they did Robert and Priscilla gave us. But something I want to ask Price Love. We are in a pandemic. Clearly, that's why everyone is putting on a mask. I know everyone has a sanitizer somehow, people social distancing. What is that one thing you must not miss to say when it comes to COVID and in most recent time?
I feel like there's a lot of negativity. When you look at our social media, every day there's news of someone who is passing away. Maybe not just from COVID, but there's news that is saddening. And my heart goes out to those people, but I feel we need more good news, something positive to look out for. And so if there is nothing to celebrate, just celebrate the fact that you're alive. Because we need to hear a lot of that. Indeed. Yes.
Indeed, I believe you, and that is something also I thought we'll talk about today, that I think in as much as we have to talk about COVID, the effects, the SOPs, how about we talk about things that will also motivate people to stay? Because we need to give people hope, away from the fact that, I can tell you, and I believe this because I've seen it happen, many people are breaking down, even not because of COVID. There's a lot of depression happening to people. And for those people who don't have anything to hold on, will die from depression, stress, trauma. I mean, everyone on social media, even people are announcing people who are alive, dead. Yes. The RIPs are just enough in people's inboxes on WhatsApp. Even when you see a rat dead, COVID, what? I think it's very unfair. We need to be able to think about the hearts of people and how they'll feel. You know, I've seen people break down, and people are so scared. It's good they should be scared because this whole thing is real. Yes. But I think people sometimes survive because of hope, because of faith. Yeah. And even when you go to the Bible brings it out very clear that even when we don't have anything, the only thing that is left for us as children of God is having faith that we'll come out of this and come out of it alive. And we're doing everything we can. Everyone is trying, honestly. Have you seen Ugandans? Yes. Even the least of the people, the poorest. They're doing their best. Have you seen people, I don't want to say beggars, people on streets have masks? Yes. Can you imagine? And that's symbolic that everyone is trying. So we just need to spread some love. Let's spread some encouragement. Let's speak some life in people. Let's not break people. And that's a matter of fact. But I can't wait to listen to the beautiful.
To the soul, and music actually is one of those ways that we do get to find healing and restoration and that peace and tranquility that you are talking about. And that's why we have Price Love.
And I usually refer to music as a healing balm.
Oh, yes.
It's a healing balm.
Okay, so we're done here. We're going to allow Priscilla introduce herself to you in form of music. She's going to be giving us her ballad. And there's this one jam that everyone has been asking for. It went viral some time back and it was all over social media. But she's going to be performing it. So I know some of her fans that are very excited to have her on Good Morning Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we officially introduce to you Priscilla.
So we will let her go on her set and do her thing, and when we come back, definitely we'll be introducing to you Priscilla. Let's take a break, and we can't wait to get lost in the soul of Priscilla.
Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear a mask properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Of the day on UBC, brought to you by
their job is to keep you and me healthy and well.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Whatever my hands find to do, I'll do it with all my heart. And to you, Lord, to please you in all I do, is my desire. The gifts you've laid inside of me, I won't withhold. Make me of influence. Ooh, make me your influence. my life, Lord, I give to you. All the fear that was choking me, I lay it at your feet. I fix my eyes on the prize of the highest calling, and I will follow you as you lead me on. Ooh. Ooh, will you make me an influence? Ooh, make me an influence. If you can use anything, use me, Lord. If you can use the stones, use my voice. Hey, if you can use anything, here I am. If you can use anything, make me your influence. Ooh, ooh, make me an influence. Make me of influence. Ooh, will you make me your influence? Ooh, make me an influence. Ooh, da 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 da.
This is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Obadde okyeteekerateekera. Kaseera kakanaayo kyani mu kisaawe ky'omupiira kalimu vaawo mpitewo kaakaasa mmeeme n'obuwanguzi bw'ebyafaayo kyonna ekibaawo ng'abawagizi tuyimirira wamu ne ttiimu zaffe.
Glory, glory, man, you know!
kutuusiza ddala ku nkomerero. Gino gye mipiira gy'oteekeddwa okulaba. Weekuumire ku GoTV olw'emipiira egy'akamalirizo egitabangawo mu byafaayo by'omupiira.
GoTV, love it.
The Teacher Management Information System, TMIS, is one of the innovations the Ministry of Education and Sports has rolled out to have all teachers register online. This is in line with the spirit of the National Teacher Policy to professionalize the teaching profession and the Ministry's effort to collate teacher data in a single database for better teacher management. Join us as we host officials of the Ministry of Education and Sports to discuss the Teacher Management Information System. The show is sponsored by the United Nations Education Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, under the Norwegian Teacher Initiative in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports.
An e-invoice is issued by VAT-registered taxpayers, while an e-receipt is issued by non-VAT registered taxpayers.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Food is more than just a great meal. It's even better when it's prepared with art. The Big Kitchen, brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Every marriage has 100% chances of succeeding. You know why? Because God created marriage, and God never creates failure, and God never designs anything to fail. Every marriage has 100% chances of succeeding. Is your marriage struggling and you're wondering whether it will ever succeed, whether you will ever make it, whether it's even worth holding on to? You got to tune into Unlocking Marital Bliss, because right here we provide the keys to unlock the bliss in your marriage, and you will be able to succeed. We've had testimonies, and lives are changing day by day.
Marriage must be a discipline. It must not be handled like a casual thing.
As women, when we have the outward expression, even our form of respect is tied to the outward things that you do.
Some women now have working class. They don't know how to handle their husbands because the marriage was has become like question and answer marriage. Do you have any tea? Don't you have hands to prepare it? Why have you come back late? Did I take your blanket? It's question and answer marriage.
Not any other place, but every Sunday, 3 p.m., right here at UBC, with the one and only Cyrus Rod.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Every Friday, we usher you into the weekend in style by moving away from the ordinary and going to a place of choice that will create that environment. Today we're at Entebbe Express Highway, and this is where we're enjoying the greatest infrastructure of our land, if you're to mention regarding roads, which is this express highway. Sometimes people have been wondering, so much of our budget goes to infrastructure. Well, the good roads, well constructed, and this is one of them. Evidence that yes, your taxpayers' money, the monies you give, really turn out to benefit Ugandans. But we're at a time of the pandemic, and many people are finding it very hard actually to meet what we call medical bills. Now, those saving with the National Social Security Fund, NSSF, will now be able to benefit from their savings if they are ill or they have been admitted. This was revealed by the director, the executive director of NSSF, who said yes, provide documents, our medical team will go through to authenticate these, and we'll be giving you some amount of money to foot that bill. First, I'll begin with Price Love. Price Love. We know COVID is one of the most expensive illnesses to treat. Now, here comes the 10.3 million savers with NSSF, that if you're critically ill, you can benefit from this monies that you've been saving. What's your take on this?
It's a good thing, but I feel like it's a longer process. Because I mean, if you're going to have to put in the papers, there's a lot that it has to go through for that money to be paid. I'm hoping that since they have that promise, they can get the treatment as the papers are being processed. Otherwise, it's if there is a promise and there's no way of really making it an actual thing, it may be a problem. Yeah.
Okay, Felix, we saw last year Parliament did their best to ensure that people can access midterm. At least someone can get 20% of their savings, those that clock 45 years or that have saved for 10 years. This was a bit rejected. Now they are coming to the aid of those that are really critically ill and need payments. Does this befit, first of all, the purpose of the fund, and also why then we wouldn't opt for midterm saving, someone getting that?
Well, it's sort of like everything that we're saying must be gathered and also backed in the definition of the fund itself. It is a social security fund, and by that, or by inception, that would mean that it is a fund that is meant to be coming at someone's aid when they have a social any position that may be social. The reason why you had all those discussions previously, still they also happened in the lockdown. They were attributed to the social stature of people then in the lockdown. That people, what would be the use of you keeping money as a social fund if you're sleeping hungry, if you can't survive, if you have all this and whatever and all that? Because the fund is basically meant to be a security, a social security fund, that it must come out when you are in a tight corner in terms of your social life. So people who are in Mulago and other places, it's for the government hospitals, it is said that treatment is free. That's a good thing. But the capacity of government hospitals to cater for all the people who are suffering from COVID-19 is definitely not possible.
It is said it's free, but still you have people that have actually had to give money in terms of, in order for you to get their attention, you have to pay some things to go before a doctor and nurse give you the special attention that you feel.
Which is very sad, I must also add.
And how then will that be documented? Because here you have to provide documents. How will I say that I gave maybe this amount of my not restricted?
No, I think we mustn't also end up in the same format like it was previously. It's going to bring back that whole argument of midterm what and all this. Because as I said, one, the capacity of government hospitals to cater for everyone with COVID is definitely an impossibility. Now that would mean that people are going to access private healthcare services, and you've seen that treatment of COVID-19 may range from about 1.5 to 10 million shillings. Now, that is not something that everyone can afford. Now, what's the use of you dying in hospital because you can't actually make payment for the bills, yet you have humongous amounts of money you're keeping with a fund that is supposed to be social security? So, I think it comes in timely. However, I would want also to add my voice to Kwagala's statement that here's the thing. One of the biggest challenges of social funds and other government institutions is the red tape, the procedure, the bureaucracy. Now, if someone is meant to access this money and you want them to present forms, to come, the doctors verify the forms, COVID-19 is like you're sick to death, tomorrow you're admitted, there's intensive care.
About, the people in critical condition.
Yes. So they may make it easy, and probably the best thing would be they should probably open up an online platform where they can have people make such demands, and maybe verification can be made and see how they can work it out. It's a good move. Honestly, it comes in handy in this particular time, I must say.
It's a good move. The question is how accessible, how fast will this be worked upon? Priscilla, when we look at NSSF, you have about maybe 10.3 million savers, but Uganda has a population of about 45 million. And we know that this is an approach that is only catering for those that are saving with NSSF. If you're not saving, it doesn't go along with you. Then where does this leave the rest of the population?
Well, the rest of the population, this should give them something smart to think about. Start saving, because now you're seeing the benefits of saving for a lifetime, saving for a certain period of time. And so that should tickle you. But good enough. Let's not look at NSSF as it's the only saving schemes. NSSF actually caters to, corporate companies most especially. They were looking at the corporate worker. The initial idea for the inception of NSSF was that this employer who leaves formal employment, after that, how do they get to survive in their later stages, or what is known as retirement? And in retirement, they usually may not have much to fend on or feed on. They may not have many people to take care of them, especially bill-wise. And so the inception of NSSF then was based on that. But now, over the years that NSSF has existed, they have realized that there are different forms of needs that are growing and coming through with the current generations and the trends, medically, socially. You have people who have cancer and need an arm and a leg of money to be able to cover their bills. So now, for me, I am thankful that NSSF is now being reawakened to readjust the reason as to why people are saving and be able to cater for people in their dire, most important time of life when they have to save themselves from such things as COVID-19. And I'm also glad that NSSF has decided to open it up. It's not limited to COVID-19. It's actually having a number of illnesses that they will put into consideration for a person who is a subscriber to NSSF to be able to get money, But that also means that now people have been awakened. Other saving schemes. You do have insurance companies here that have been offering life insurance. They've been offering covers for children, for health, and people have been slowly, picking up on this whole habit of insuring life or health, for that matter. But most especially, I've seen people using it for the elderly, your parents, your uncles, your grandparents. People have been using these schemes for the elderly. Now is the time that Ugandans should wake up and understand that it is important that you start to put money away so that when such times come as this, you can easily make the decisions that you need to make.
But you see, Priscilla, it's not, I think you need to look at it from an angle of reality in terms of Ugandans. And if you want to look at on average, how many, so in a spectrum of 100 people, how many out of 100 people earn and can save from what they earn? You see, and
we're looking at the Ugandan that can afford. But the Ugandan who can't afford, it's still definitely a dire state, and you would be calling to, the health Ministry of Health to be able to help them. When you get to look at some of the statistics, you get to see some of the statistics that are coming through here. Mulago Hospital, they say it is free. Capacity is 900. Masaka Hospital, it is free. Soroti Hospital, it is free. Mbale Hospital, you get free.
Well, I think, Priscilla, to cut you short, nature is speaking.
Molen
and of course,
Molen
is speaking. Glad you guys survived the earthquake. I think we're in the way of at least we'll have a break and we'll try to get a safer location, but we'll return very shortly.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Obadde okyenteekerateekera kaseera kakanaayo kyani mu kisaawe ky'omupiira kalimu vaawo mpitewo kaakaasa mmeeme n'obuwanguzi bw'ebyafaayo kyonna ekibaawo ng'abawagizi tuyimirira wamu ne ttiimu zaffe okutuusiza ddala ku nkomerero. Gino gye mipiira gy'oteekeddwa okulaba. Weekuumire ku GoTV olw'emipiira egy'akamalirizo egitabangawo mu byafaayo by'omupiira.
GoTV, love it.
The Teacher Management Information System, TMIS, is one of the innovations the Ministry of Education and Sports has rolled out to have all teachers register online. And the Ministry's effort to collate teacher data in a single database for better teacher management. Join us as we host officials of the Ministry of Education and Sports to discuss the Teacher Management Information System. The show is sponsored by the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, under the Norwegian Teacher Initiative in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports.
Ekya COVID-19 kijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
An e-invoice is issued by VAT-registered taxpayers, while an e-receipt is issued by non-VAT registered taxpayers.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Food is more than just a great meal. It's even better when it's prepared with art. The Big Kitchen. Brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Every marriage has 100% chances of succeeding. You know why? Because God created marriage, and God never creates failure, and God never designs anything to fail. Every marriage has 100% chances of succeeding. Is your marriage struggling and you're wondering whether it will ever succeed, whether you will ever make it, whether it's even worth holding on to? You got to tune into Unlocking Marital Bliss, because right here we provide the keys to unlock the bliss in your marriage, and you will be able to succeed. We've had testimonies, and lives are changing day by day.
Marriage must be a discipline. It must not be handled like a casual thing.
As women, when we have the outward expression, even our form of respect is tied to the outward things that you do.
Some women now have working class. They don't know how to handle their husbands because the marriage has become like question and answer marriage. Do you have any tea? Don't you have hands to prepare it? Why have you come back late? Did I take your blanket? It's question and answer marriage.
Not any other place, but every Sunday, 3 p.m., right here at UBC. with the one and only Cyrus Rod, not any other.
And locking Maredo Bliss.
This weekend on UBC.
You know, when God bless someone, or when God bless you, you become a blessing. You know, when you become a blessing, you can be able to
bless others.
Bless others.
The Ideation Corner is a space where ideas are discussed and dissected.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello and welcome to the backstage of this generation, where the young and restless face the bold and beautiful.
It has been a very interesting journey.
cooling down. Clearly, the weather is changing. Now, Molen has been on the hot seat the entire week because of the predictions that she has been giving us in terms of weather forecast. And ever since Monday, she has been letting us know about the showers and the rains that are coming down. And every single day we've been seeing those rains. But we are on Entebbe Express Highway. Look at that magnificent beauty of the road. The architecture that was designed around this road is actually wonderful, so wonderful that some Ugandans I know have used this spot for photo shoots. Others have used this spot for weddings, and given the fact that today is Friday, I know there are people who have weddings, and later on, hopefully, if the rains would stop, we might find a wedding, a couple or two that are taking photos from here. We also do have people that have used this venue to be able to feature in films and music videos. The beauty that we have in Uganda, the wonderful road infrastructure that is improving greatly every single day. We are taking a trip around the Entebbe Express Highway. It's also known as the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway. To Kampala. And when we get to talk about Kampala being the largest metropolitan area, this was originally commissioned in 2016 and planned works were meant to kick off in 2016. However, there was delay in the works, which is quite common for infrastructure, especially when it comes to roads, because there's so many nitty-gritties. The nitty-gritties I'm talking about, considering this place, it was a swampy area. Probably some of these areas were settlement areas, and they had to resettle some of the Ugandans that were living in these places. That resettlement plan can actually take, on planning it can be for 2 years, but on paper and on ground application of that can take a while, because so many people have to adjust to what the government is trying to do for the betterment of Uganda as a whole. So therefore we had it being commissioned, and it was done and dusted in 2018, and on 15th June, which has happened to be 3 days ago, Uganda's President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni did commission of this road. Now, when you look at the Entebbe-Kampala Express Highway, you get to look at the length of the entire route being 32 miles, which is 51 kilometers. It was designed in 2018, completed in, it was designed in 2012, completed in 2018. It does cover the southern end. Southern end, we're moving from the Entebbe International Airport. It comes through Kajansi, and then you can then connect back. If you connect back, you will end up on the northern end of the express highway, which is Busega, and that is where you will. And then Busega, you can connect to Bulenga, you can connect to Masaka and the likes. The purpose of this road was really to curb the cumbersome jam that used to be on Entebbe Road. People going to the airport, but because of the traffic jam, they cannot be able to make it to the airport in time. They have to probably start their journey 4 or 5 hours earlier before flight takeoff to be able to get onto some of these wonderful locations that we're seeing here. Now we get to see the toll. Yes, this is where we're going to be paying that money that the French company, there is a French company that has been contracted that will be soliciting the money that is going to be paid on these tolls that we're seeing here. So it's supposed to kick off in August, as of the report that came out in March from UNRA. They said that by August they would be starting to make Ugandans using the Entebbe Express Highway to pay money. However, the billings have not yet, or the pricings have not yet been released. We're still waiting from UNRA to be able to release that information. So get ready. Why are you paying? You're simply paying because this was a grant. It was courtesy of CNOOC, which is known as CNOC. They're the ones who did this road, and we are supposed to be paying them back over a certain period of time. That is the arrangement for them having helped us put up such a wonderful road infrastructure. And so as Ugandans, we will be required to contribute to that payment. We have all been having this conversation of the debt burden that Uganda has and how big it is, and yet we now have COVID-19 that is stretching the budget. The budget has also gone up and we are all wondering, where's this money going to come from? And yet nevertheless, we must be committed to the loans that the government has contracted to be able to give Ugandans better services, deliver better services to us. And so just an encouragement, this is where your money is going to be going. These are some of the loans that your money is going to be covering. Now we also get to look at some of the other places that this particular location does come into contact with. When you look at the points of interest, if you're coming from Entebbe town, it's in Wakiso district. You get to pass by Abaita Babili, which is Wakiso. There's a community of Akrite City that does interface from Busega. So that is how awesome a connection it is. It has definitely saved a lot of people, especially from the sides of Busega, Masaka, Bulenga. People can highway. It is that conducive and usable. Now we get to the Kajansi roundabout. And you can see these bars are holding the express high flyover that does then you'll end up in Seguku, and then you'll end up in Luwa. How it looks like this morning, it's clear. So if you're coming from Entebbe heading into Kampala, the routes are clear regardless of the drizzle that we are experiencing this morning. Equally, traffic coming from Kampala joining Kajansi into Chitende, Abaita Babili, then you enter into Entebbe, is also clear. So you don't have to worry about the drizzle. Let not the drizzle confuse you. Right ahead, we get to see on my left where we have the Kajansi Trading Center. Fuel prices are interesting this morning. For people who do consume Shell, you get to have fuel prices ranging between 4,000 and 4,200. That is for petrol. And then for diesel, you have the range starting from 3,500 to 3,800, depending on where you're fueling in from. So those are the pricings. When we look at fuel, of course, there will be an increment in terms of the tax that has been imposed on fuel consumption. And that is going to be initiated or activated on 1st July when the budget of the 2021-2022 does take effect on 1st July 2021. So on 1st July, be ready for those prices to actually spike up. If you have your Chidomora, maybe you can save some fuel. Anyway, you get to look at the trading center for Kajansi, and equally you don't have so much traffic happening there. Routes going to Kajansi, Chitende, you see that the route is actually clear. Also, vehicles that are coming and accessing this roundabout heading into Kampala, they're not so many, quite countable on the road. The taxis that are passing by are empty. Then some are really trying their level best to practice what the president gave us the directive 2 Sundays ago, where he said that a vehicle must carry half the capacity that it's initially supposed to carry. Then you get to see borders, people wearing their masks, and that is a good thing. I like that Ugandans in the second wave have actually taken this to another level and are very adhering to the SOPs. We get to look at the micas also. You get to see that the capacity is not so bad. Now, speaking of which, we must also put into consideration that today, Friday, the papers are out and COVID-19 is on the front pages of every single paper. In the Daily Monitor, we get to look at the front page giving you COVID-19 patients to access NSSF cash, and then we get to look at other headlines. But as we are looking at that, we're definitely seeing the traffic that is slowing down. It's pretty much open here. Right ahead, if we can look right ahead, that is where we get to connect to what is known as the Southern Bypass. Southern Bypass connects you to Munyonyo, then you can connect to Kansanga, then you can connect to Bunga, and Bunga, Soya, Kansanga, Kabaragara, then you get into Nsambya. With the Entebbe Highway, the express highway has that option. From the Kajansi roundabout, you can easily connect to the sites of Munyonyo, you can connect to Salama, you can connect to Machinge, you can be able to connect to Zambia, all in that direction. And look at that. There's some borders that are coming. Adherence to SOPs is very important. Please wear your mask. Even if you're just walking by yourself on the road, please wear your mask. We can see border men are having masks on, and that is a good thing. The president was very tough. He said if some sectors are not abiding by the terms and conditions of COVID-19 that have been given, then they will be closed. Most affected would have been borders whose curfew was reinstated to 6 p.m. And exactly at 6 p.m. you will not be seeing any borders coming through. We do have an Afande in front there that is smartly dressed. This new uniform was incepted in March, and we get to see that they have also adhered to the SOPs with masks on, and they have managed to keep the traffic on the road and help Ugandans adjust to the COVID-19 rules, especially in terms of curfew. I wish I could have a conversation with Afande. It would be very, very nice. Let me see if I can have a word with him. Good morning to you, Afande. So Afande is managing the traffic there, and he's doing a good job in ensuring that the traffic around Kajansi is taken well care of. We get to have another interaction with him later on, but we must be able to also understand that these traffic police officers are doing their job. And I know that some Ugandans who choose to actually be very rude to them when they stop you. Please, when they stop you, take care of how you respond to them. They're also human beings. They might be on duty, but they're human beings, and they are wanting to do their job diligently. Their job requires that they will stop you. They might want to check your ID. Do you have your national ID? Do you carry with it? Do you walk with it everywhere you go? You must. In these times where you might end up in a cell for no reason or some reason, you will need your national ID. Also, your driving permit. You must check your driving permit today. If it's expired, then go and have it renewed. And the renewal process has been made simpler, most especially now it's COVID-19. There's not so much traffic. You will not wait for more than 2 hours before you get a renewal for your driving permit. Now, we get to see that trading center for Kajansi is actually all clear. You do see ahead some taxis that are taking passengers to the rest of Entebbe routes, and they're picking up passengers from there. We're not seeing many taxis stopping because of the COVID-19. You will not be having taxis doing a lot of stopovers, especially the ones that come right from the park to the road and the destination. They will not be having a lot of stopovers because of the consideration of the number of people. For taxis, it's been initially carrying 14 people, but now it has to carry a number of 7, and that is definitely causing a lot of people to walk. As you can see, some people are choosing to walk to the places that they must go to, especially if people stay within Kajansi and work within Kajansi. They're being forced to walk to work other than considering the available means of transport. the cost of transport has also gone up, and that has definitely affected Ugandans' income, how much they can return to be able to take care of themselves and their loved ones. But remember, wear your mask and sanitize all the time. Even if you touch a mango on the market, you must sanitize thereafter. Even if you touch a desk, a table, you must sanitize thereafter. Even if you handshake someone, you must sanitize thereafter. COVID-19, you don't take care of it or sanitize once a day. No, because you don't know who you're going to meet. And I like that the doctors came out and released the statements telling people stop visiting each other in this second wave. And I will echo that again. Stop visiting each other in this second wave. Now, speaking of second wave, the Daily Monitor today is letting us know that patients paying through the nose at ICU. Fund says that all ill patients in ICU are eligible, and this is in response to the COVID-19 patients to access NSSF cash. You have mixed reactions from the public on this NSSF policy that we are being given in the papers today. If you are among the 10.3 million members of NSSF, this should be good news for you. Now we get to see the Entebbe Express Highway. We have left the Kajansi roundabout and now we get to connect to the Entebbe Express Highway. Ahead is where you do have the tolls, which we will start to pay for. UNRA had informed us that those payments would start to be billed in August, but we wait to see. As you can see, when it comes to the way the road was dammed, there are barricades in the middle to bring about that separation of the traffic that is coming in from Entebbe and rainy days. By the way, new roads are quite slippery when they've just been constructed, because this was officially opened up in 2018, which gives it this is its third year of people using it. Now when it rains, it definitely is slippery, and I'm not sure your tires are in a good condition. You may not have been taking care of your tires. That means that you need to drive slower when it is a rainy season. Even if it's an express highway and you're free to use whatever speed you want, please note that your car needs to be in a good mechanical condition. There is also a weighing station right ahead for vehicles that carry goods. Heavy trucks, heavy vehicles also will be measured, and that will be at a cost. Now we entered. Now these are the signposts that we were talking about. 20 kilometers per hour if you are heading to the toll gate, and it's 5.2 meters from where we are right now, and you must be at 20 kilometers per hour to be able to get to the toll gate. Now we get to the toll gate. Yes, it looks like a house or an entrance to some rich person's house, but no, it's the Entebbe Express Highway. You do have those X's. Those X's are the screens that are meant to be functioning when the billing process starts. As the billing process starts, we continue to look at the Daily Monitor. In Scoop, the reality of modeling in New York, they bring you a story of a Ugandan model who is plying her modeling trade into New York. You can see vehicles are not surely abiding by the signpost of 20 kilometers per hour. They are moving at an interesting speed. Yeah. Now this shows you that people don't read signs on the road, so people don't put into consideration signs on the road. They tell you to slow down here, and this is what the toll gate looks like when you get up close and trying to access the Entebbe Express Highway. You get to see that this is what the toll gate will look like. Ahead, the blue enclosure that you're seeing will be the one where you will be making your payment, and then that payment will give you access to the express highway, whichever direction thereafter you will be able to use after paying this. There's also another one when you're coming in from Busega. There's another toll gate that you meet, and that will cost you. They bill you, then you can be able to access and enjoy Entebbe Express Highway. Then we get to see fisheries are the major agricultural activities in this part of Kajansi, but also clay works. We have a lot of clay works companies that are en route Kajansi because of the rich soils, and some areas have clay soils, and that is another commercial activity that does happen in Kajansi. Now, as we head back, this is Good Morning Uganda, Special Friday, taking a small tour around the Entebbe Express Highway. That is our home for us here on Special Friday. Continuing to look at the Daily Monitor front page. In other news, we have a man applying for Justice Minister's job. And then we also get to look at the lizard. The lizard is saying it is not another way to fund hospitals. Response in COVID-19, accessing NSSF cash. That is what the lizard is saying. Upcoming, we do have Kampala. If you go straight, if you want to go to Entebbe, you would have to take the left. Now, these are very important. If you do not follow them according to where you want to go, you will end up getting lost, and it will take you almost an hour to be able to come back to access this route. So as we are heading to Kampala and we were taking the route, the left side is going to Entebbe. It will connect you through Chisubi, and then it gets you right into Entebbe town. So please have those into consideration. Of course, at night they do have reflectors, so you can still see which direction you are taking. Nevertheless, from here on, it is a straight road, and the speed is up to you, and you will do as you please. But we get to see, because it's a rainy morning, people are surely taking it slowly. Now we get to look at other dailies that we have this morning, as we are having a nice drive looking at that beauty of the Kajansi area of the Express Highway. We get to look at the New Vision this morning. Critical COVID-19 patients to access NSSF benefits. Even New Vision is bringing about the same story. In Pictoria for New Vision, more vaccines have arrived. We're looking at the Minister of Health here, Dr. Ruth Chen, receiving the vaccine package in there, and the COVAX facility that has given us. We now get to see another junction that does affect business there. Now, still on the New Vision, education, we get to see a pull out there. Senior 6 has a pull out for physics and economics. Senior 1 has a pull out for English and chemistry. We also get to look at Full Story. Edgar Watson, Football is My Life series. That is a conversation from Edgar Watson, who is one of the heads for FUFA. Muldaga confirms 17 deaths in a day. Zambia's Kenneth Kaunda is dead. And then we also get to look at New Vision at 35. 3 ministers abducted in peace mission. And down we get to see Kaptumba shooting, Kawesi murder suspects held. Another daily that we're going to look at is Daily Nation. Front page of Daily dialogue about it. We also get to look at money matters. We get to see at Saiton investment scandal hits thousands. For justice, woman's tears as ex-priest is set free. And we also get to look at pay rise freeze. The unions won't take it. Now, back to the Entebbe Express Highway. This is sort of a roundabout where it is done beautifully. We get to see our comrades there as they are preparing for the next segment. Felix Nkunda, you do have Robert Kirabo, you do have Molen, who must explain to us these weather changes that are sudden. Speaking of weather changes, yesterday night people experienced an earthquake, and personally I've been experiencing a minimal earthquake for the last 2 weeks. I've been feeling the earth shaking greatly. So I want to find out from Molen if it's a response to the recent pouring of lava that we saw in the Congo mountain, if it's any related, of these are the after effects. And now that is the rest of the team, and speaking of the rest of the team, I must go and join the rest of the team. Good morning, Uganda, Special Friday. We do have Price Love that is with us, and so I must go find Price Love. Good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
week of...
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear a mask properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
An e-invoice is issued by VAT-registered taxpayers, while an e-receipt is issued by non-VAT registered taxpayers.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning once again, all of you who are watching us on UBC. It is Good Morning Uganda. Now, today being a Friday, of course, it is our special Friday production. Call it an edition. We are somewhere, Priscilla says, in a place of nowhere. She said nowhere. Anyway, we're in Kajansi, just besides the express highway that takes you to Entebbe and also joins you back to town through different routes. You have the road that takes you off to Munyonyo, of course from Kajansi, then of course later on in Chitara, somewhere around Nkumba. Nevertheless, now on top of that, we also have beautiful productions, and today in particular we're doing some sort of instrument, something that has been probably even off your TV for some time. I don't know the last time you had an Adungu play on TV. So with us today again is Price Love. Once again, how are you? Lovely, lovely, I can imagine. And alongside you is a very other, I almost said beautiful gentleman. But please introduce.
Ladies and gentlemen, right next to me or accompanying me today is my wonderful husband.
Say what?
Oh, yes.
Oh!
Yes.
So what among Price Love? So, okay. So, I don't know, you're Mrs. Price Love?
No.
And is it supposed to mean that Mr. is called now what? No. Cost Love?
No.
I'm kidding.
So Price Love is a brand I built before I met my husband.
Oh, yeah.
And when we got married, I realized changing the name is going to be a
to disorganize the brand.
Yeah, so we decided.
So imagine, it's one of those days. But you're welcome to our show.
Thank you.
I believe you play the guitar?
Yes, I do.
Wow, I can't wait to hear your production. But just one question before we go into this whole music thing. And I want to now to ask Mr. Kalanji. We're in COVID. Everyone is sort of trying to pull themselves together. We talked about these messages around how people are being broken and what. Anything you want to make a comment about the current times of COVID?
I think fear. People fear too much.
Yeah.
That sometimes I think because of fear, they fail to be confident. So we should not fear. Yes, COVID is real, but I think we should not fear, and we believe that we can overcome.
Yeah. And I like what he says when you say, I think fear is more dangerous than COVID.
Yes.
Actually, if I put it that way. Well, of course, some people to drive fear out of youth this morning, that is Mr. and Mrs. Kalanji. You say? Kalanje. Yes. Wow. Mr. and Mrs. Kalanje, also aka Price Love.
Well, the very first song we're doing is I Believe I Can. I know that in these times, so many have lost hope. Students are out of school, and many of us are thinking, how are we going to make things work? But we just want to encourage you. I believe that we can still do great things in spite of the COVID. We can still do great things. Let's go. It's been a while, hello, how are you doing? It is me again. Took some time to put thought together, write new melodies. Struggled with the thought of failure, and don't we all? But from a place I sing you this song. I believe we can do great things. I believe we can. I believe we can do great things. I believe we can. Ooh, yes we can. We all have dreams of what the future will hold. But if what we think is not what it turns out to be, that does not mean that we give up and take your eyes off man, start believing you can. Greatness right inside of you. Yeah, there's greatness right inside of you. Oh, I believe you can do great things. I believe you can. I believe you can do great things. I believe you can. Oh yes you can. I believe you can do great things. I believe you can. I believe you can do great things. I believe you can. We can. I believe we can do great things. I believe we can. I believe we can do great things. I believe we can. La 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 la. The next one is You Can Fly. Same message, you can fly. Kamu gwe muganda basoka kwabula ne batambula. Your dream can be reality nkusaba chimutokoa. Sometimes you'll be the only one believing for don't have to feel what you feel. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to know what you know. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to see what you see. Believe that you can fly. Luno lugendo rakufuba ebitulemesa byo bingi. Obulamu w'enseno bwe butyo tuve mu kwekwasa. Oba byagana luli gezaako n'enkya. Luli bw'olwona kungula kkiriza nti kisoboka. Oba byagana luli gezaako n'enkya. Luli bwa They don't have to feel what you feel. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to know what you know. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to see what you see. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to feel what you feel. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to know what you know. Believe that you can fly. They don't have to see what you see. Believe that you The next song is one of the songs that most people have known me for from the end of 2018, and I'm just going to do a medley of it. Nara, I believe that there is a lot to be thankful for, despite the fact that a lot of things have gone wrong. I still do believe that there is a lot to be thankful for, so let's take this time and just be grateful to God. For he has done so very much for me.
sign of good luck. So our Friday is really in luck, and having started off with such a gospel song that is really nice, bringing us all into the soul as we head towards the weekend. You know, these days we don't access church, so some of the moments that we have to praise God, to relate to that kind of church experience is good for us. So yes, it is what we're bringing you this morning on Good Morning Uganda. Now, our weather and nature segment today, we're just doing it from here, coming from last night where we also had those rains across Kampala. But it wasn't only rains that we had, we also had that earthquake that a lot of people were terrorized about, and a lot of you were sending me messages via WhatsApp and Twitter on which areas that you did hear this earthquake actually, up to what extent. Mercy also was telling me from her area, she just thought maybe the world was moving on Twitter, and thank you very much, Mercy, for that. We also had, but the extent of the earthquake was basically over Lake Victoria Basin and taking in areas of Kampala, of course, Entebbe, even at the airport. So that was actually up to a magnitude of 4.6. Now, we haven't had this kind of magnitude in a while over Lake Victoria, although we've been having reports across the Lake Tanganyika region. But for Lake Victoria this year, it's the first time we've seen this kind of earthquake. And that was extending at least to 6 kilometers beyond, up to 10 kilometers actually in depth. That was quite a big kind of earthquake, but lucky enough we haven't had reports of any destruction coming from that earthquake, except the people who were terrorized, holding on to their beds, those who are already asleep. Now, one Rama was telling me, for him, he just, when he had the earthquake, he just had to hold on to the bed. He's like, okay, if I'm gonna die. But yes, that was what a lot of people felt in Kampala last night and across Lake Victoria. Now, that was preceded with a rainy morning that we've had today. That is across parts of Entebbe, Kampala as well, Kajansi, where we are right now. Now, those rains will be continuing throughout the entire morning. Now, this is what we were talking about yesterday, differentiating between rains and showers. You see, with rains, they would have cleared much earlier, but what we had this morning were rains, and they are still continuing, but although the intensity has reduced. Now, that wasn't only over Lake Victoria Basin. We did have rains this morning across Nakasongola, parts of Masindi, Hoima. That area actually received much more rains. Even up to now, I think people in Masindi, Nakasongola are still having those rains, and those will also be continuing throughout the entire morning. Now, we do have also that system, most especially south of the Lake Choga region. That is where we have that side of Nakasongola as well, and those rains will actually continue. Chankwanzi is also in that category, and we will be seeing those rains continue throughout the entire morning. Now, across northwestern Uganda, that's where we have West Nile. Clouds are starting to develop, and we do expect rains to come your way this morning. Now, taking a look into our forecast for this morning, still across the Lake Victoria Basin, of course, now rains have started to reduce, but most of the areas will still be seeing those rains throughout the entire morning and into the afternoon. And also more rains will be developing according to what we're forecasting this morning. We do have more rains developing across western Uganda, Kabale, Chisoro, also across Ntoroko, Fort Portal. Do expect those rains to come your way this morning. Also across parts of Bushenyi, Rubirizi there. By the way, most areas across that Kazinga Channel, Lake Edward, Lake George. Now, this area is usually also influenced by the local effect. Their proximity to the lake also adds into the amount of rainfall that is received over that part of southwestern Uganda. So you will find that we're forecasting rains across southwestern Uganda, but not everywhere will be receiving those rains. Now, the advantage that areas like Rubirizi and the western side of Bushenyi, the advantage they have is them being close to that water body. It also helps to enhance the wet weather activities across that area. Now, in our forecast, we're also forecasting some of that scattered showers still across the Lake Kyoga region. That is the southern part of Lake Kyoga, to continue still throughout the entire morning, and we'll see more developing, extending up to parts of eastern Uganda. That is where we have Soroti, that is where we have Katakwi. That area will also be getting rains as the morning progresses. Coming most areas are expected to clear as the evening comes in. Now, we do have something special planned for you on Monday. We are looking at a changing climate. We are looking at especially our warming trend. Now, we have a campaign that is a global campaign about warming temperatures, and we'll be taking a look into our warming strips. Now, these will be meant to look at how much temperatures are changing across the country, and also looking at how much are we dealing with, what can we contribute to that. So that is what we'll be talking about more on Monday with our warming strip campaign. This is going to be an international campaign where weather presenters, climate scientists, and also environmentalists come together to give an awareness on climate change, and mostly in terms of temperatures. Now, each country has got their measures data according to what the warming trend is. Now, compared to all what we have across the whole world, you will still be looking at a warming trend. So yes, we need to dive more into that on Monday, but something really special. This is an episode you don't want to miss. We will have the entire team on it, and we will do something to at least symbolize what we are meaning by this. So thank you very much for being with us. I do expect you still also next Monday, where we will be looking more about the campaign within the warming trend. Now, Priscilla is also out there for us, and she will be taking us more on what we have for you here on Good Morning Uganda special. Now, maybe she doesn't need an umbrella. I don't know whether she's not afraid of her hair. Me, I'm just protecting my hair. So Priscilla will be telling us more about what she's feeling, where she
Love. Now, Paris Love has a special song that has been making waves on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. People have been sharing. Speaking of Facebook, there is a Philemon Mayeko that is enjoying. I had a chat with him yesterday, and I asked him, do you mind recommending artists that we can host on Good Morning Uganda? First on the list, I kid you not, was Paris Love. And I told him, don't worry, I got you sorted. And voila! Yeah, Good Morning Uganda. It's got you Philemon sorted. We also do have Atimango Lydia. You are watching live from Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is UBC Television Uganda. You can always stream, and you have the ability to actually rewind and start the show from the beginning. That's the beauty about it. We also have some Facebookers that are enjoying Special Friday, and people actually enjoyed the Nara song, the cover. It was powerful. It was powerful. Yeah.
Minister to the soul of the Kirabo. Many of us.
Yeah.
Also, we have Tumsime Lucas, who just sent in. He said, I really feel so bad that Akasente Akalinyambi Omuntu Wansi Mukadebe now is being used to treat COVID-19. The government can regulate the private hospital. I think we have spent a conversation we had regarding NSSF giving some of the savings to the people who treat, among others, COVID-19.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Mr. Lucas, also for being part of it.
So, Paris Love, you do have this song that has been making headlines all over in reference to your music, and it's called Wali. But interesting to note that I've been having a conversation with you before, and I discovered that it was recorded 2 days, one day before your mother passing. Please tell us about how Wali came about and what that meant in reflection of your mother's passing.
Well, we were home. No, actually I had talked to an artist and I thought I could do a song with them. And we just decided, I and my husband, we are going to write a song. So because of the situation that was around us, we realized there was so much pain, there was so much death, and someone needed to hear that they are not alone, that God is right there with them. And so I wrote the song, and the day before Mom passed is the day I recorded the song without even knowing, you know, what is going to happen, because I wasn't even thinking of doing it like any time.
Yeah.
But then I realized it was timely. Throughout her passing, that was those were the words that were
on your heart.
On my heart, they kept on repeating themselves. Wendy, Wendy, Wali, Wali. So I just wanted someone to know that whether in death or sickness or all levels of life, God is right there with you.
God is right there with you. Well, definitely my colleagues would agree. And I would like to challenge my colleagues to continue with this message of hope and give your individual messages of hope while people are going through COVID-19. The numbers of infections are alarming. The numbers of deaths are alarming. I've just looked at the Daily Monitor, 17 deaths recorded in just one day. Earlier, at the beginning of the week, we saw a story of the deaths in Mulago that had been said 30, but a medical personnel came out to clear that and said there were 17. So there's so much death happening around us. What is your message of hope from each of you to Uganda?
Well, for now, it says stand still and see the hand of God. The good thing with COVID-19 is we know how it spread, we know how we can prevent it. So please, do not lose hope. Just perfect that. Now, for those that are grieving and have lost loved ones, I'll leave you with a scripture, which is Romans 8:20. Please read the scripture. Will encourage you to let you know that there are some reasons why certain things happen. We come together fight COVID. And I've also read before that His Excellency, the head of state, is expected to address the nation today at 8 p.m. and UBC will be giving you that message for Mr. President at 8 p.m. Will be giving us the hope and also direction.
Well, of course, for me, I must also add and say, this is a friend of mine told me, look here, in as much as everything is happening, we all can die. Yeah, that's what I think he was talking about, that how about we carry on with hope and faith. Let us spread some positivity.
A conversation he had with a senior citizen of this world, this country, and the senior citizen was telling him that if you young people think COVID-19 is bad, you should have been in Uganda in the 70s when measles attacked the country. And he said that people would drop from morning to evening in communities, and it brought a lot of stigma, fear in people. And even when the vaccination came and people started to, you know, adapt to vaccination, still as it is today with COVID-19, some were reluctant, and those who were reluctant continued to lose loved ones. Those who took the vaccine, yes, they got measles, but their lives were saved. So in short, we do have the vaccine. Now, you may not trust so much of this vaccine, but the people who came up with this vaccine, their intent was to actually save your life. The vaccines, we do have a vaccine bunch that came in 2 nights ago, and everyone that is required to get your vaccination on that batch, please go and do it. It's for your safety, but when you're safe, your family is safe, your community is safe, and the rest of Uganda is safe. And check on your people. Call a person that you've not talked to in a long time. Encourage them. Believe you me, we might be walking and smiling, but people inside, in their quietness, in their loneliness, they are suffering depression inside there. So reach out to one person and, you know, take care of another person. Just say hello, how are you doing? That will definitely change the stance that they're in. Now, speaking of change of stance, music does send the message best. Wali being performed by Price Love. 2021 release.
Would you guys mind singing with me?
I'm ready with my instrument.
I can teach you, yeah? The chorus is very simple, even you at home can do this with us. Wali, Yesu wali nawe wali. Just that. Wali, Yesu wali nawe wali. One more time. Wali, Yesu wali nawe wali. Okay, I'll go through the top. Damwamanyi gumo moyo totya wali. Byonna ebikuteganya bimanyi. Kazi bendwadde ajanja bendwadde talina kimulema emigugu egizitoye gimukwase ne mu kiwombe kyekisikirize tolumbe tolitya kabi kubanga omulokozi wo ali nawe wali wali Yesu wali nawe wali sangula amaziga manya wali Yesu wali nawe wali oguma omwoyo wali Yesu wali nawe wali tobako kyotya manya wali Yesu wali nawe wali Yesu wali nawe wali yemuonya wendwadde wali Yesu wali nawe wali talina kimulema ye wali Yesu wali nawe wali 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 nawe wali meme angemanya Yesu wali Yesu wali nange wali wali Yesu wali nange wali era wali nawe wali Yesu wali nawe wali 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 Yesu wali nawe wali last time everybody say wali Yesu wali nawe wali.
Yes! All right, Special Fridays dance continues. Sports updates are coming up. Say more. We want to thank you so much also for joining us here on Special Friday. Now, as we are wrapping it up, just a message of hope that there is a God that is with you through these tough times. There is wear your mask, sanitize, social distance. Those three should be able to guide you and keep you alive for yet another day.
Avoid places you shouldn't be.
Thank you. All right. Enjoy your weekend. From Good Morning Uganda, we now get to hand over to Sports Update. Ruben Pima was driving around enjoying the cruise and the nice tarmac of the Entebbe Express Highway. Now we want to hear about the world of sports. What's happening? The Olympics team is geared up. And over to you, Ruben Pima.
Well, thank you so much, Priscilla and Robert, for that. I love is it Precious Love or Priscilla Price Love? I don't know the artist, but of course I've enjoyed myself as Ruben. My name is Ruben Mp Machibirango, and we are live from, that is the Express Highway. Jagena Sebakula Ziksoka, you will be telling me whether you enjoy yourself from this green here. But I'm going to give you spots, and I'm pretty sure that many of you would love to get to know what I'm going to present to you. But I'll start from home. Before I go into sports, I want to appreciate the fact that UNRA have done a great job in terms of road construction. The Express Highway is a beauty. It's actually a beauty if you ask me. I have actually been cruising between 220 to 240. Can you imagine the VW in such kind of speed? Just because of the roads we have in Uganda, I can cruise between that speed. Anyway, but I'll start from home, and that is basketball. Gazelles, Lady Gazelles, to start training for Afro basketball qualifiers. Yes, of course, the team that has been called upon, I'll be telling you the team later. But Uganda Women's National Basketball Team will start training this week ahead of the FIB, ahead of the FIBA Women's Afro basketball qualifiers. The team that has been called into the camp to take part in this include Brenda Achon, that is from JKL Dolphins, Makira Lamunu from the Leopards, that's the KC Leopards, every Nachinji, that is from the Lady Dolphins. We have Flavia Okesho from the Dolphins as well. Then Hope Akelo, also from the Dolphins. We have Letitia Awol coming in from the Leopard. Abigail comes in from the Lady Cannons. The Cannons, for me, when I talk about the Cannons, I miss the big center. That is Vilma Cheng. Vilma was a fantastic player for the Cannons, and I really miss Cheng. No, Vilma, not Cheng, the one of the Minister of Health, but Vilma is the basketball player who used to play for UCU Lady Cannons. Rosa Chon, also from Lady Cannons, also has been summoned to the team. We have Sharon Kirabo from the Rangers. Stella Oyela comes in from the Dolphins. Then we also have Sylvia Nakazo from the Leopards. And lastly, Zaina Loko Mary or Lokwameli from that is the Dolphins as well. That will be the team that will be taking part in the Afro basketball qualifiers that have been called into the camp. Away from that, let's go across over to rugby. Uganda men's team withdrawn from World Rugby Sevens Olympics. That is following a number of COVID-19 results determined during a scheduled arrival testing. The Uganda men's Sevens national rugby team has been withdrawn from the World Rugby Sevens. That is according to the news coming in. The tournament was scheduled for June 18th to 20th. That is at Stade Louis II Stadium in Monaco. All Ugandan players have been in strict isolation since arrival, and the delegation will continue. But of course, if they find one player or two, they have got to cancel. They've got to put the team into isolation to make sure that the virus doesn't spread. It's a deadly one, and let's always take precaution. Away from the rugby, let's go over to Olympics. The Tokyo Olympics, first batch of Team Uganda flagged off. Yes, the first batch has actually been flagged off. And I know my colleague Edmond in the studio would love to see his colleagues be part of the Olympics team. And Don Rukare, the president of the Uganda Olympic Committee, told me one time that the funds are available for us to take a team to participate in Tokyo 2020. Well, the Tokyo Olympics, first batch of the team, Uganda flagged off, and of course, a team comprising of 5 athletes, that is 3 boxers and 1 swimmer. Of course, the weightlifter has been flagged off. That actually was flagged off yesterday by the State Minister for Sport, that is Hamson Obua. So we expect medals. The Uganda Bombers keeper, that is Shadil Musaboji, David Semuju, and female boxer Catherine Nanziri, alongside weightlifter Julia Sekitoleko, plus a swimmer, that is Ambara Atwaire, were flagged off at National Council of Sports offices in Gogo. That was yesterday. Hey, so we wish the team well, and we hope that they come back home with the trophies. Away from the Olympics, let's cross over to the league. We have a game today. That is actually we have 2 games today. UPDF will take on SC Villa. That will be at 3 p.m. Then so we shall have Chitala against KCCA at 3 p.m. as well. But yesterday, okay, the other day, that was Tuesday, Wednesday and Tuesday, we had games. Maida lost to Bull by 6 goals to 1. We had the Bright Stars draw with Police 1-1. Then Mbara City beat Chetume by 3 goals to 1. But tomorrow we have also games. The Vipers will take on Nduparaka. Then we'll have Soga United against URA. But on Sunday is where the game is going to be. Express FC Square Pass Motomoto will travel to Wachiso Giants to play against the Purple Sharks. Hey. The Purple Sharks will take on Express FC. That will be on a Sunday. Well, away from that, let's go over to the Euros. We had games played the entire week. Wednesday, we had Finland lose to Russia by a goal to 0. Excuse me. Wales beat Turkey by 2 goals to 0 as well. We had Italy beat Switzerland by 3 goals to 0. And then yesterday we had Ukraine beat North Macedonia by 2 goals to 1, as well as Denmark losing to Belgium by 2 goals to 1. Romelu Lukaku was on fire. The 2 goals scored by De Bruyne as well as Hazard, the young brother to Edin. We had 2 scorers there, but Lukaku, for me, Lukaku was so instrumental in Belgium's win. Then, of course, we had Netherlands beat Austria by 2 goals to 0. That means the Dutch qualify for the quarterfinals. They join Italy for the quarterfinals, and I'm pretty sure that when the 2 teams face off, hey, the Azzurri might take the day. The Azzurri are the day. And, of course, we also got games in Copa America. Colombia drew with Venezuela, that was 0-0. We had Brazil beat Peru by 4 goals to 0. Wow, what a game. And today we have also games in the Copa America. Chile will take on Bolivia, and Argentina will play against Uruguay. That will be in the Copa America. I've got to go. I have got to go. I'll hand over to Jagenda, Semakwazik Soccer. The team is ready to take you through the next hour. That is 9 to 10, the Pan-African Friday. Yeah, Jagenda knows best this route where we are. That is the Express Highway. I will be telling you about the road. But for me, I appreciate the fact that UNRWA made it possible.